What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Danny Garcia and Terence Crawford. Danny Garcia tells Terence Crawford to send him an offer. He'll fight him if Bob Arum sends a legitimate offer. Okay, we know that Terence Crawford, has been rumored that he couldn't get fights because of the promotional company that he's with. You know, he just took out Mean Machine, and of course, Terence Crawford is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and we have now Danny Garcia, another PBC fighter, that's calling out Terence Crawford. Now, first it was Sean Porter. We know of Sean Porter, and Terence Crawford's not focused on Sean Porter. Now we have Danny Garcia saying, hey, I'll fight Terence Crawford. You know, just send me a legitimate offer. Well, I would imagine that Terence Crawford won't be focused on Danny Garcia either. And I'm going to tell you why. What does Danny Garcia have to offer to Terence Crawford? I mean, besides a good fight, of course, you know, that's what you would want. Danny Garcia is a strong fighter. He's tough. He has those Philadelphia hammers. You know, he's never been to the canvas as reported. So he can take a licking and keep on ticking. Now, as far as competition, I feel that Terence Crawford should fight Danny Garcia if there's no other opportunities. You know, I think he should. You know, but here's my thing. And before everyone gets started, you know, with the ducks and all this, you know, is he ducking Porter? Yes, he's ducking Porter. But why? Because he says Porter has nothing to offer. Well, if that's the case, he should duck Danny Garcia too, unless there is some deep-rooted interest in a fight like that. Think about it. Both of those guys was at 140. Danny Garcia left in 2015. Terence Crawford came to the scene at 140 at 2015. You know, they've exchanged some words, especially Angel Garcia. He stirred a lot of that crap up, right? You know, saying he was blue-black and all that, you know. But those guys didn't. It's rumored now that Team Garcia left 140 because Terence Crawford came to 140 or was rumored to come to 140. Okay. Now, I don't know that to be true. That's what I heard. All right. But if he's ducking these guys at this point, Terence Crawford, I think he needs to, unless he needs to fight these guys, take on these fights, unless Manny Pacquiao or he's got something else bigger brewing, you know, with Errol Spence. Because, you know, if it's between Errol Spence and any of those guys, it has to be Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao. But let's look at it like this. I don't want Terence Crawford to become like a Gennady Golovkin, like a Errol Spence, because all those guys were in a situation where they claimed they couldn't get fights because everybody was ducking them, and then people start calling them out. Then it's a reason or an excuse on why that fight can't happen or why you can't fight these particular guys. Because Gennady Golovkin was like that at 160, and Errol Spence was like that for the longest at 147. You know what I'm saying? Before he could get the Porter fight and, you know, those type of fights. Because he just fought Porter, right? So that was like the first person, you know, that he was really introduced and was allowed to fight and to take on. So if I'm Terence Crawford, if I have no championship opportunity brewing, right, why not fight these guys? Why not break that will? Why not collaborate with other fighters in your weight class, regardless of the networks? You know, that's the whole thing. Let's show these fans, these casuals, these naysayers that these fights can happen. And then for you saying I'm not focused on that, it's like you saying, well, I'm not really trying to do business with those guys. And he's not saying that, but that's how it's going to be implied. That, hey, well, Terence Crawford, he's already having enough problems finding fights. Oh, now he's turning down fights. He's turned down a fight with Porter, and if he turns down the Garcia fight, okay, there'll be 2 PBC fighters that you've turned down. So at this point, people, okay, counterpunching this from my perspective, you can't blame PBC if these guys are legitimately want to fight Terence Crawford. You see what I mean? And then that'll leave all the room for people to say, you know, Terence Crawford's ducking. And then guess what's going to happen? He's going to lose credibility. And then if he's not doing anything worth a while or fighting anybody else or fighting that Errol Spence, and we don't even know really what condition Errol Spence in. We hear him talk. We heard him. He's getting back in the gym. But that doesn't mean he's ready for someone like Terence Crawford. You know, and my thing is, you make sure that Errol Spence is 100% before wanting to call out someone like Errol Spence, you know? But Terence Crawford, he needs to take these fights. He really does. You know, because I don't think that he has time to, unless he's going to move to 154, he doesn't plan to do that. Those are some bigger guys up there, you know? And a lot of those people will give him problems, like bad problems. So it's take what you can get. And if he's not going for a championship fight these guys. Fight these ex-champs. You know, somebody like Sean Porter on your resume, Danny Garcia on your resume, you're doing well at what you're doing. I thought that's what he wanted to do, to fight the best. And that's the best at 147. So if he doesn't take that, he's making a grave mistake, but he can't fault people for blasting him for ducking. Bottom line. And I like Terence Crawford, but that's how it is. Okay. And honestly, I think with Danny Garcia, kind of fired him up on what Timothy Bradley said. Put on your big boy pants. Remember that? Put on your big boy pants. This guy's begging you to fight. Well, now these guys are saying, okay, you know, I see. Give me a contract that I can take that makes sense. Give me one that's legitimate, and I'll fight you. So it shouldn't be any of that. No, I'm not focused on that. Well, you need to get focused on something. Because if you're not getting Errol Spence, you're not sure the hell not getting Manny Pacquiao, what else are you going to do at 147? Because at 32 years of age, he doesn't have time in his prime to be waiting around for a particular fight when there's fights that can be made at this point of time to this day. But that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.